Hello, and thank you for joining me as we learn the Sefer Binyan Habayis together. It's a Sefer written by Reb Moshe Shachatovitz. He's a Talmud of the Stipler, Reb Moshe Feinstein, and he wrote a beautiful, beautiful Sefer about marriage, about Mitzvah, and what Hashem had in mind for a marriage to look like. It's incredible. I learned it twice, and the second time I learned it, I learned so much more from reading the same exact things than I did the first time, and I wanted to read it a third time, but this time, learning it together, I feel like it can really take marriages to the next level. So thank you for joining me, and let's begin. He starts off the first chapter with, why do we get married? What does Hashem have in mind in a marriage? And oftentimes when he asks people this question, he gets answers like, firstly, I don't know, in order to have children, to work in our middas, and then some people respond, because that's what Hashem wants me to do. And he hones in on that, like, because this is what Hashem wants you to do. That's why you get married. He brings a story that sort of highlights what that sounds like, and I think it's beautiful. A guy goes on vacation for 2 weeks, and he knows his friend doesn't have a car. He can use a car, and he tells his friend, "Here, you can borrow my car. Here are the keys. Enjoy, and take care of it." His friend comes back. He comes back, and his friend comes over to him, gives him the keys, and walks away. And he didn't thank him. He didn't show any appreciation, so he thought maybe something happened, something was wrong. So he asked him, did you enjoy the car? And he's like, yeah. He said, everything was okay? He says, yeah, it was amazing. He said, I got the shear on time, I got to where I want to on time, and so he said, so why don't you thank me? And I said, I should thank you. You asked me to take care of your car. I took care of it perfectly. There's not even a scratch. And he says, this is what people sound like when they say, like, I get married because Hashem asked me to get married. That's what Hashem wants to do. Like, instead of thanking Hashem for this incredible gift, this incredible opportunity, this incredible connection, relationship called marriage, we're getting married because we're supposed to thank Hashem for this amazingness and recognize this amazingness and recognize what marriage is. And that's what he's digging into. He talks about what is a Adam? What is a Udam? And he brings down the Gemur in Yevumis, Samach Gimel Medalef. Omer Rebbe Eliezer said, Kol Udam she'ein lo ishu, every Udam that doesn't have an issue, a man that doesn't have an issue, a wife, Einoi Udam. He's not considered Udam. Shenemar, Zocher in a cave Budam, he created them male and female, Vayikra Shemam Udam, and he called them Udam. Almost sounding like he called them Udam. So that means the man or the woman themselves are only a half a Udam. Right? Sort of. I mean, we can understand it that way. If they're both one Udam, then half of that, then only one of them is a half Udam. And he says it very well, because he brings down, he says that when you sell a car to somebody, you're selling a piece of junk. When you sell a half a car is not functionable. It's nothing. It's a piece of junk. There's nothing there. But a half a Udam, which is a whole human being, is a very functioning human being. He's missing nothing. I mean, everything about him is functioning, or her is functioning. So he says, the way to understand it is more like, imagine Hashem created a man to only see but not hear, and a woman to hear but not see. And they get married, and they go to buy a refrigerator together. And the husband says, wow, I found this beautiful refrigerator, the price is right, it's gorgeous, everything, you should see everything that it can do, it's amazing. And the woman says, why would you buy a refrigerator that makes such noises? It's not. So he tells her, he says, if you could only see what I see, you'd see that it's an amazing, beautiful refrigerator. And that's, in that way, we're only a half a human being. Because a man is born to see the world through a male perspective, a masculine perspective, let's call it. And a woman is born to see the world from a female perspective. And each one see the whole world through their perspective. And all of a sudden they get married, and they can each share a whole new perspective. They can each share a whole way of seeing the world that they were never able to see before. And many people get married and look at it as a conflict. Like, I see it this way, she sees it that way. We're not seeing it in the same way. And the answer is, you're not supposed to. You're supposed to be seeing it from a man's perspective, and she's supposed to be seeing it from a woman's perspective. And you're supposed to communicate, connect, come closer together, trust each other, learn to trust each other in a way so that you can both bring what you see to the table and see the world from a very wholesome place, in a very wholesome way, in a way that you couldn't have seen before you got married. And that is what it means, a half a Udam. and getting married, you get to see the world from a whole place in a wholesome way. I thought that was a beautiful way of explaining it. He brings down the next part of the chapter of the Gemara, also in Yevumis, Daf Samach Beis Umid Beis, that a man living without a wife, is living without simcha, without brucha, without toiva, without Torah, without shulaim, like living without all these amazingnesses in the world. All the what do you call it? Without all these blessings in the world. And he asked his Rebbe, the Stipler, what do you mean? I know a lot of married men that are living in the same way. They're living without brucha, without shulaim, without all this. And the Stipler said, yes, many men have gotten married but haven't yet found their wife. Many men have gotten married but they're not living with a wife. And I'll explain it a little more. Many people are married and they're looking at their marriage as a partnership. They're looking at the spouse as a roommate. They haven't yet gotten to know each other in a really deep and meaningful way. And that's what it means living without a wife. Living without a wife also, but living that even a married person can be living without a wife that way. And it's on us to get to know each other. And we want to, so that we have all this incredible bruchas that Chazal tell us come when we live with our wife, when we get to know her. The next part is Al Kein Yazev Ish Esuva V'imay V'dovak B'ishtoi V'ahayu L'busar Echad. There's three parts to this pusik. A man leaves his mother and father, then he clings to his wife, and then they become one flesh. And there's a couple of ways to understand it, I should say, but I'll explain sort of the two easiest ways to understand it. The first part of the pusik is Al Kein Yazev Ish Esuva V'imay. That is fairly simple, where the roles are changing. The man was always a makabel from his parents. He lived by his parents. He was reliant on his parents. And now when he gets married, he has to leave that makabel role and move into a new role of a mashpia, of receiving. I apologize. He's leaving the role of makabel, of receiving, and he has to move into that new role of being a mashpia, a giver. So for him, he's literally changing the roles. From a woman, it means she's leaving her parents' home. She was makabel from her parents, and now she's going to be makabel from her husband. The next part of the pusik, and it's important, this is an important part of the pusik, because in order for them to really get to know each other, get together, in order for the second and third part of the pusik to be able to materialize, you have to remember this step. You have to remember that there's new roles being played over here, and that they should really leave those roles and go into the roles of the relationship that they're building and having together. The next part of the pusik is v'dovak b'ishtoi. He should cling to his wife. Rashi says that means emotional and physical intimacy, and v'ahayu l'basar echad means having children. Rashi doesn't say it directly, I should say. Rashi says v'ahayu l'basar echad is having children, so v'dovak b'ishtoi obviously means physical and emotional intimacy. And according to others, v'dovak b'ishtoi is emotional intimacy, and v'ahayu l'basar echad, when they become one flesh, one together, is the physical intimacy. So it's split into three, and this is the pusik. It's important to recognize that in addition to what we said before about a husband and wife really getting to know each other and recognizing that they see things from different perspectives and it's meant to be that way, in addition to that being an amazing way to start the marriage, the awareness to have when going into the marriage, another important part is to also remember this. Always remember that if there's things that are maybe not perfect, see if you really switch that dynamic. It's a good thing to look out for in case of emergency, as they say. Okay, fine. The next part is Mitzvah Shunei Rishona, the most beautiful mitzvah. I mean, it's a gorgeous mitzvah. It's a mitzvah that the man cannot go to war, cannot do public service. What does he have to do? He has to spend a whole year of his life getting to know his new wife. He can't do anything else. He can't do anything else that's going to, I shouldn't say, he can't do anything else that's going to distract him from getting to know his wife in the most deepest emotional way. He should be getting to know his wife in a way that when he hears the word woman, the only thing that comes to his mind is his wife. The only woman in the world is his wife. Every other woman is irrelevant completely. That's how deeply he should be getting to know her. And that's what the mitzvah of Shuna Rishayna is. It's mitzvah Tuf Kiv Pai Beis, number 582. And Rav Shnei Kotler brings down that getting to know your wife for 1 year, he says that's for 1 year is meant for people that are on the Madrega of Ahar Nakayan. For us, regular people, the mitzvah of Shuna Rishayna is at least 2 to 3 years. And he said this years ago. He said, and these days it's maybe even 5 years. So it's not 1 year. It's really get to know your wife, really get to know her. And I feel like the reason Reb Shnei Kotler used the example of Aaron HaKohen, because Aaron HaKohen was Oyev Shalom, V'Reidev Shulam. He really got to know people, and from that place created Shulam, created wholesomeness. Reb Shnei Zalman Auerbach brings down that the mitzvah of Shana Rishayna, he says, you were Mekayim at the first year. He said, don't worry about it. He says, you're married for 10, 20 years. He says, you can still be Mekayim the mitzvah today. It's never a mitzvah that goes away. It's not a mitzvah that's limited by time. So you can always be Mekayim that mitzvah. And what I understood when I read this from Shlomo Zalman Auerbach is, what it means is that the mitzvah of Shuna Rishayna is a mitzvah that you're Mekayim every single day. It's a mitzvah that you're Mekayim every single time you get to know your wife in a deeper way. Every time you get to know your wife more, or in a deeper way, or in a different way, or you connect to your wife in a way that you get to know her more, you're being Mekayim the mitzvah of Shana Rishayna. And obviously, I have to recommend this book called The 5 Love Languages, because it really gets to know, learning it together with your wife, you really get to know each other in a very deep way. You get to know each other and what makes you feel loved. Because what makes one person feel loved doesn't make another person feel loved necessarily. And there's 5 basic primary love languages, I should say, that the book discusses, and these games that you play, really getting to know each other in a really deep way. And every time you play this, you're being Mekayim the mitzvah of Shana Rishayna. It's amazing for Shana Rishayna couples, but it's amazing for every couple. Play the game, read the book. I'm telling you, it's worth it. I want to point out that everything that we're saying over here, I'm directing at, like, it's coming from the male perspective, like the man giving for his wife, the man doing for his wife. Every pusik is about the man. Is it only a job on the man? Like, what does the woman? What role does the woman play? And I'll explain. The man's job in a marriage is he is the mashpia. He is the giver. He is the initiator. It is the man's job to initiate everything in the marriage. He's obligated by the ksiba. Right? He signed the ksiba. It's a written agreement promising his new wife everything. Home, shelter, mitzvahs oina, everything. Food, everything. He is going to provide for her. He's going to take care of her. And he signed this agreement, and he's excited to sign this agreement, and he wants to give her in a healthy way. A healthy man wants to give his wife. So everything here is coming from a male perspective, from a man's perspective, because of that. Because the man is always the initiator. It always starts off with the man. He's always the one that starts all these beautiful things in the relationship. And it's not a one-way street. Don't worry about it. The second a man gives his wife in the most wholesome, beautiful way, and she feels cherished in this way and loved, she's going to give back, and she's going to give back, and she's going to give. It's going to be a beautiful give and take. But he's the one that's got to start it. And a visual, the way I like to understand things, is imagine 2 people leaning back against each other. They could lose all, let themselves go completely, right? And they'll never fall. Why won't they fall? Because they're leaning against each other. So the only difference, and they're both supporting each other completely. That's why they'll never fall. The only difference is that the man stands here, the woman leans on him first. The wife first leans on the man. And once she leans on her husband, he can lean back on her. And they can both lean against each other, and they'll never fall. They could just let go completely and never fall, because they're both supporting each other. They're both there for each other. They're both holding each other. They're both giving and receiving. They're in a beautiful, beautiful dynamic. And that's the way it's meant to be. And we finish this chapter where we ask the question why we get married. Why we didn't answer it completely, although we sort of alluded to it, that because we're not a complete, wholesome person without it, and we can't experience life in the most wholesome way without getting married. But next chapter we're going to explain a lot more why it is that we get married. Thank you for joining me, and see you next time. It's Hashem.